There are more.
No, I had the hot dog and the
I did too.
jalapeno.
I did too.
I had a sample of everything.
It'd be rude not to, I think.
Seen in the audience? Eric, how's the baby? Probably not a baby anymore.
Almost 9 months.
Where?
Time has flown.
Yeah. So GFL mitigation is right after consent, so it's fine where it's at. GFL.
You want to move it up?
No, I think it's good where it's at.
It looks really weird down there. Okay. Oh.
Disney's up. Sense.
Call to order Minneola City Council. If law will rise for a moment of silence, and Vice Mayor, if you'll lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review.
Looks good, thank you.
It's good, thank you.
So, any last minute changes?
No changes.
Mostly. Christine, you good? Public comment. If there's anybody in the audience that wants to speak on anything that's not on the agenda, please come forth at this time. And remember, you'll have time at the end of the meeting to, if you remember something.
Farmer Banks, Helfrich, Claro District, South Lake County. Farm tip of the day, you can go to any Ace or Publix, buy raw peanuts in the shell. You can soak them for 2 days. They will crack open just barely. You can put them in the ground about 2 inches, about 2 feet apart, and in about 120 days, you can have your own peanuts. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, welcome to April. Welcome to April 15th. Welcome to Tax Day. Actually, welcome to Tax Month. Taxes have a bad rap. In fact, death is the one word associated with taxes than any other word in the English language. So what exactly do we get from taxes? Many of us here today, I would assume that just about all of us tonight drove here on roads, and these roads were funded by our taxes. Tonight, they will go home, lights will be on, and the lights are funded by our taxes. Many of us passed charter schools, public schools, district schools, private schools, also funded by our taxes. Here in this room, we are all breathing air. The air is viable and breathable because of our taxes. The water fountain in the back lobby is potable, is drinkable, again, funded by our taxes. Here in this room, the city manager who manages the city, funded. Council, also funded by our taxes. In fact, you all on the dais, your stipend, your salary is funded by us. So basically, Without taxes, we would have no government, no municipality, no county, no state, no federal government. One of my good friends said to me, freedoms are not free, and I cannot agree more with him, because without freedoms, without government, you have no liberties, and without liberties, you have no freedoms. So our taxes pay for our freedoms. Happy April 15th Day, tax month. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Looking forward to the next shirt.
Greg Brady called, said he wants a shirt back.
I like his sneakers.
Nicole Marie, 879 High Point Circle. I don't have any fun farmer tips. But I do want to come up and talk about family. Because I feel like at the end of the day, that's what we are in this room. We are one giant family making decisions for other families that live in this beautiful city that we get to call home. And I feel like that's a really big responsibility and a tall order for us to have. And just like any family, we're going to have disagreements. There's going to be things that we don't always see eye to eye. However, we get to work through them respectfully. We get to have our differences. We get to go home and sleep on it, and we get to come back with a fresh, clean perspective, willing to make decisions, willing to be the leaders and the trendsetters of this community that our children and our families need us to be. So, having said that, I would like to welcome each of my family members, mayor, council members, for being here tonight. I am grateful, and I would like to set an intention that all of us are open-minded outside of our own personal belief systems, and are willing to work together in a respectful way to come and make decisions for our family who are depending on us. So I will save my 1 minute and 42 seconds because I'm sure there's going to be a time that I'll need it later. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you guys tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
So happy to see you here.
Same.
I know I spoke on this once before, but now the legislative session is starting to come to an end. And I wanted to bring to your attention what Apopka City Attorney Cliff Shepard, who is also the General Counsel of the Florida Redevelopment Association, spelled out the grim reality of the House Bill 991 and SB 1242. Shepard explained that both bills would end the CRAs no later than 2045, which is a couple years from now. However, the big issue is House Bill 991, which stops new projects from being funded, and no new projects can be started after October 2025. So if it's not in the budget for this fiscal year, it's not a project that's underway before October 2025, that's the end of your spending on CRAs. So I urge the city council members to go lobby up in Tallahassee, and I encourage all citizens to write their senators and legislatures and check on Florida.gov for who they are and who's on which committees. It's already passed several committees. It's now in the Commerce Committee, and it was on the agenda today at 1 p.m., and I have not seen whether it went forward or not, but it's coming real close to reality. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just for the record, we've been watching that one pretty
Yeah.
closely. It's kind of slowing down in the House, but that doesn't mean it won't speed up at the end. It's kind of vaguely written on projects. So we are, as a city, we've already had, Scott and I talked about it, and then Scott said that we've already talked about it, coming up with a project list of how we move forward in this. We can't add any new projects, but that's how we word a project listing, and we'll be working on that and bringing something back. If it does pass, I think the city should be okay, but it's going to require us to pass some things over the summer just to position ourselves.
Yes, sir.
But Scott's on it, Mark's on it, so we've had some discussions. And I just wanted to make sure that I talked to Scott Day to make sure that my thoughts and his thoughts were aligned. So is any comments on that one, Scott? Just, it is what it is,
Correct.
till the vote happens and it gets signed. And it has to pass both House and Senate, and then it has to get signed by the governor.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else? Bringing it back to a proclamation. April is actually Water Conservation Month. Whereas water is a basic and essential need for every living creature, and whereas the State of Florida Water Management District and the City of Minneola are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water and conservation, and whereas the City of Minneola and the State of Florida has designated April typically a dry month with the water demands are the most acute. Florida Water Conservation Month to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the City of Minneola has always encouraged, supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and a citizen can help by saving water and thus promote the healthy environment and community. And therefore, I, Pat Kelly, the mayor of the City of Minneola, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Water Conservation Month in the City of Minneola, and call upon citizens and businesses of Minneola to help protect this precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and become more aware of the need to conserve water. Another thing on this thing, we talked about this in the past. I've seen it before, and you can go online, is we're trying to look at ways to conserve water. We will be using some Facebook advertisement for that too, to send out messages. We'll be getting our water consultant on that. But something else that's available if we want to consider it, I've seen it before as water conservation, is actually, it's a dial that basically is the hourglass, but it's not an hour, it's like 2 minutes, and you put it in your shower, and you kind of like turn it, because sometimes you fall asleep in the shower for like 30 minutes. Some people do, I do. But it consciously says, oh, 2 minutes or whatever your time is. But something like that we could do as a city too, is another getting that out to people to kind of make them realize. So we're trying to work hard at the conservation piece. Okay. Moving on to City Council consent agenda. This is city managers. Any questions?
Out for me.
Nope.
Okay, anybody in the audience? I'll bring it back to council. Can I get a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve city manager's consent agenda.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, at this time, GFL mitigation plan. Who's running? You want to just come up, Skip?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council,
Good evening.
City staff. For the record, my name is Skip McCall. I'm the sales manager for GFL Environmental. So over the last several months, we have been working with the city staff and, of course, our internal staff on presenting to you tonight a mitigation plan on some of the recent issues that we've been experiencing here in the city of Minneola. We have done so, and we are here tonight to present that plan to you and, of course, answer any questions that you may have. With us tonight with our plan, brought the team here. We have Todd Wiggins, he's our general manager. We have Eric Poole, he's our operations manager. We have Mike Ferguson, who is our area fleet director. We have Jim Suter, who is relatively new to GFL, but trust me, he's not new to the industry. He's been around, he knows it very well. And then we have Tim back there, Tim Muir, who is our fleet maintenance manager as well. So with that, we'll bring Todd up here and we'll kind of go through some of the bullet points of the mitigation plan. And again, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those as we go along the way.
Hello, how are y'all doing this evening?
Hi, good evening.
Thank you so much, first off, for allowing us to come in and speak with you about our mitigation and what we have planned going forward. We, of course, want to
let you know that in lieu of this, what has happened in the past, that we have restructured the management within GFL in Central Florida. I was over in Tampa, of course, transferred over here, and of course, multiple managers within the region have been changed around due to all of this. So first off, I just want to let the city of Minneola, all of you know that we are committed, and this is a very serious issue for us. We want to make sure that everything's taken care of according to what y'all have set forth for us. And just real quick, I'll kind of go over a couple of points that we're taking care of, if that's okay. GFL has implemented and will continue for the foreseeable future daily check-ins, weekly reports, weekly calls with Lake County supervision to ensure that the requirements are met for the city of Minneola. This most likely will be taken care of by myself and Eric Poole, which is the operations manager there in Lake. Our customer service center has and will provide copies to the city of Minneola contract for any new employees to ensure that CSRs are fluent with the contract language and protocols that y'all have set forth for us, to make sure that we take care of and they understand what y'all have set forth for us to take care of. This has been pressure tested in the past with other facilities to make sure that all of this works, and we are assured that it will work in this area. City of Minneola receptacles were ordered from re-rig and are scheduled for delivery. Most of those have been already implemented and put in place. Those containers that are that do not meet the requirements for the city of Minneola, we are continually going to change those out. We have ordered receptacles to make sure that we have in place enough so if we get calls on those, we can go ahead and replace those. But at the present time, we are placing trucks out and making sure that those are changed out and according to the rules and regulations for the city of Minneola. I will go ahead and for the leaks and things of that nature and the maintenance portion of this, I'll go ahead and turn this over to Mike Ferguson. He is in charge of all the maintenance programs for GFL, so I'll let him speak on that behalf, and then we'll continue through if that's okay with y'all.
So before we move forward, I do appreciate you guys coming out here.
Certainly.
And of course, we're going through the mitigation plans now to clean up the streets,
That's correct.
and we appreciate that. To cut to the chase, if none of that works, and I know you said that it does work, it's tried and tested. If none of that works, is GFL ready to come to the city and say we're gonna seal this street again because we know that we ruined it? Is that something that's been discussed internally?
If it has been discussed, I have not been part of that. So I don't want to speak on something on a behalf that I'm not aware of or that I'm not privy to. So I'm not saying that it hasn't been, I'm just saying that I haven't been part of that conversation as of yet.
Is that something that's out of the realm of possibility for GFL to come to the table with?
I think that's something that we would definitely need to get with the council here and the mayor and discuss that and see, how far, if it doesn't work, how far we will take it for your behalf. So, of course, I'm not discounting that at all. I'm not trying to, play hopscotch and, hey, deflect the question. The answer to that really is I don't know.
Okay.
I wish I had the answer for that, and I apologize that I don't. I think pulling Mike up here, he might have a little insight on that. If that's something that we would have to move forward with, then I think that would probably come from higher up, and then we would discuss with y'all and
Sure.
make that decision. So once again, I apologize that I don't have that answer for you. I wish I did, but unfortunately I do not.
I just,
Yeah.
for me personally, I can just tell you, It's disappointing of what GFL has done to the streets of Minneola. If you go online and you Google GFL yacht, you can see that your company owns a $350 million yacht. I'm sure it doesn't leak, and if it did, they would have fixed it right away. So it seems like your priorities within your company are geared the wrong way. So it's very frustrating to see that at all. So that's way above your pay grade. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, it
I
is.
just want to put it out there that the perception is the priorities is more about corporate greed than it is service. So that's all I have to say. You don't need to reply.
No,
You can just move on.
no, but I would like to if I could.
Okay.
I can't answer to the people that are above me and the luxuries that they are able to provide for themselves or their families. I can't answer to that. I can tell you what I can do, and that's all I can tell you. You know, I have set forth, you know, in front of me what I need to do, what I need to take care of. In the past, those items have been placed in front of me. I don't own a yacht. I don't own a Lamborghini. I don't own a Corvette. I don't have any of that stuff. My wife is retired, and you know, I could have retired a while back ago. I have not. I have chose to continue to work because I enjoy it. I enjoy coming in front of people and talking to them and figuring things out and seeing what we can and can't do. So once again, I apologize if that seems, you know, what other people do.
And I appreciate that, but just please understand, it's the optics of that is out there of where the prioritization is of the company.
Trust me, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Thank you. We can.
I will tell you, I will do everything I can in my power to make sure that this does not continue, that the problem's fixed, and if it does happen, that there's a resolution to it. I don't know about the ceiling. Once again, I wish I could, but I don't have that answer. Can I get the answer? I will, and that's something that we will discuss probably tomorrow. And so I can just tell you what I can do, and my job is to take care of the city of Minneola.
Thank you very much. So,
Thank
okay.
you.
Let me pass this over to Mike Ferguson. He is. And thank you once again for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Mike Ferguson,
Good evening.
Area Fleet Director. So, to begin, 6 weeks or so ago, we implemented a plan and to address the fluid leaks, not only engine oils and petroleum-based leaks, but actually the leachate, which is the garbage juice. And that was the bulk of the leaks that we discovered. So really, in short, I won't read off the whole.
I want to clarify. I heard something. I just want you to clarify. So you're saying a majority of the leaks was not fluid leaks, it was leakage
Well,
of
I think as part of the, if you're measuring it out in gallons or quarts
yeah,
or
so
whatever.
I'm just trying to understand,
the
so it
leachate,
wasn't,
yeah,
it was more of the trash leakage, not the hydraulic?
That is correct.
Okay,
But
thank you.
It's a temporary stain when that happens, and
That's fine. I just wanted
Sure.
to hear what you said,
sure.
to make sure that's what I heard. Okay, thank
Right,
you.
okay. So basically what we did is exactly what Todd and Skip had talked about. We've implemented an inspection process, both coming into the yard and leaving the yard. Every single truck of all lines of business that touch, actually in the fleet and touch the city of Minneola has been inspected and continues to be inspected every day, twice a day. I've brought my guy that works directly for me, which is a top-notch technician. He's been hoteled up here in Minneola for, this is probably his 6th week now, and he works side by side with the local guys and myself included when I'm in town. And I think we've done a real good job of repairing the leaks and stopping the continued complaints. And we'll continue to do that and going forward. Now, addressing the leaks that are already, or the stains that are already on the streets, the treatment started today. with a company called Superior Wash, and we've used them in the past. I've used them for probably 15 years or so, and I myself have never had to reseal a street in my career. The stains have always been able to be lifted, and I'm 99% sure that's what we'll do with City of Minneola streets.
I do have a question on this, since you just saw it. When you spray it and it lifts it, does it have an adverse impact since we don't have rain to wash it away? Or what happens? I mean, you're lifting it, but if there's no rain to wash it away or rinse it.
Yeah, it actually, the way I've been told, it's a liquid application. They applied it today to the stains that were, chosen, basically. They'll come back Friday, pressure wash it, vacuum up the wastewaters,
Okay.
retreat it, come back 3 days later, 2 to 3 days later, depending on weekend work, things like that, and rinse and repeat for, I believe he told me 2 months.
Okay. You have any questions?
So, I know you said you've never had to pave it. Shot in the dark, let's say it doesn't work, and we're part of that 1%.
Yeah.
Is it out of the realm possibility that GFL would reseal the streets?
I don't think it will be necessary. And again, I have to base my 30-year career on I've never been a part of that, and I definitely have had worse leaks than what I've seen here. Whether it's paint, oils, this, that, and the other, we've never had to do it. So.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Is there some type of mapping or something that you're giving to the city to let us know where we're doing this, or how does that work?
Yeah, I believe Eric's got that of the two neighborhoods, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't have the names of those right off the top of my
So
head.
basically, you're doing the hills, and what are the neighborhoods you're working on now? Okay, the hills and reserves. So it's
Is that including Parkview? Parkview, across the street from the reserves? Is that part of that plan? Okay. Because there are streets there that are pretty heavily damaged.
There's
Including-
several.
There are
There's several.
not only those streets, there are others as well.
Like
Right, but I'm
Ridge,
saying specifically the hills area.
Chester.
No, most definitely. But there are other streets that need some attention to. And I apologize, you had mentioned that 1%, you never had to go ahead and reseal or repave streets. But if it ever came down to that, would it possibly happen that we would need to, and would you guys end up doing it?
We would own the liability on what damage that we've done.
Okay, and I think
And-
that's what the question was, if,
Yes. that's the
okay,
question.
And I think there's also the issue of the stain on a street. It really doesn't have anything to do with the integrity of the street, of course, right? So
right,
if it was, we created a pothole, we created cracks, we created,
no,
so yeah, we would have to address that, but I don't think we'll have to go down that road.
okay,
Okay, because I can tell you in my street, I know exactly where the trucks stop by the
mhm,
pooling of fluid on the street.
Okay. And Eric, do you know where that's at?
Parkview,
Can you give an ad?
Hamlin Ridge?
Did we drive that? Okay, all right, I'll be here tonight, spending the night, I'll drive with him in the morning, and we'll check that
Okay.
site.
Yeah, I would check all of them, because obviously the same truck is
Well,
going through.
and we drove miles and miles, my head was turning the last time, so Eric took me on a tour of Minneola, and, but we'll go by there tomorrow and drive that neighborhood, so.
Yeah,
and
so I work from home, my regular 9 to
Okay,
5.
all right,
so-
well, I'll see you in the morning then.
Okay.
so do you,
by all
okay,
means.
you're gonna ride with him tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. I have
Okay.
no issues, in my neighborhood at least, yeah. I have other things to do,
And-
but in my neighborhood, I'll be able to ride with you.
Okay, we'll come find you in the morning.
And if we're speaking about the neighborhoods and just knowing off the top of our head, Mr. Eric Poole and Mr. Skip knows my area very well. And I've provided pictures that not only my street in front of my house, but also into the subdivision of Park Ridge. But there is some other subdivisions besides mine and Eric's that are not council members that have had issues and that have sent messages to me. And I would like to later on get with, because I have Mr. Eric Poole's number and Skip's number, to just, actually, I believe I did share that with you, Skip, that address where the resident did reach out to me regarding to their street as well.
Okay.
So, you know, we're here, yeah, it's easy to get our information, but when we have residents that reach out to us as council members, we have to do our due diligence and we have to present that information to you guys as well, because it's not just us, we have other residents out there as well.
Understood.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anything else, Skip?
I'm
Are you-
good.
Are you good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be monitoring this. Will they be coming back in 45 days or to see where we're at, or
We could
what do you
request
want?
them to do that.
Huh?
We can certainly request that if you like.
When do you think is a good time to regroup? I don't think you need to come back to every meeting, but What
And
is
I'll
it?
tell you, they made a Herculean effort. They brought in mechanics and welders from multiple counties of the state brought in just to work on our trucks and redid seals and lines, and y'all, they had them working late at night.
you feel,
They took it very seriously.
if you feel comfortable, if council feels comfortable with this, we'll reach out to Skip if there needs to be an additional coming forth, but right now, we'll just assume. But we want to hear from the audience, so. So yeah, if y'all, we'll just play it by ear. There's no reason to come back, as long as we're making progress. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Dave Yeager, 2750 Purple Meadow Court. So Del Webb's that way too. It's not garbage juice. I've been doing waste management for 24 years, and we just had a crew just come back this evening from Hernando County. So it's definitely oil. It's not garbage juice. And it's, you know, the faster you get to it, the better it is. There's no magic wand. You can make it look less. But the problem is in the neighborhoods you're talking about, the Hills and Del Webb, they go to the house, there's the leak. Go to the next house, there's the leak. So it's not garbage juice, it's definitely oil. But as I said, I've been doing this for 24 years with waste management, and the faster you get to it, the better it is.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, it's a show. The people just want to make sure that somebody's paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jennifer Morston, 64 Golden Dawn Loop. It was my understanding that all of the Minneola was being looked at, not that it was one-off, some people sending pictures. So I just want to make sure that we're not only going to fix the ones that people are complaining to the city about.
I think, in my, not cutting your time, I think that they're just starting with that, but they'll have to look at every street in the city.
It seems like if it's been 6 weeks, that should have already been done. If there's a plan, what is this called? Mitigation plan? The mitigation plan should have the roads that are a problem. Right? Wouldn't you agree?
And I
it's been
believe
6
you're
weeks.
correct, because when it was brought back at a meeting, one of our meetings, it was mentioned that some roads were being addressed.
Yeah. yeah.
Yes, so you are correct, Jennifer.
Thank
There
you.
should have
Say
been.
that again.
No. But yes, I do remember at some of our recent council meetings that some of the streets were being addressed and being
Already.
looked at.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to those streets, I do not know if anything has come about on those streets, and if,
See anything in Ardmore, that's for sure.
and nor in Park Ridge, but you are, right?
So, sorry to interrupt Pam and John, but yes, So we were supposed to get updates on streets up in the hills of Minneola, Gold Dust Drive, Mystic Maze, Axel Street, Juniper Berry, Candace Chase, Bear Peak Road, Treasure Hill Street, Huntsman Ridge, and Chester Street.
Yes,
So
those are
GFL
the
team,
ones.
what's the
And then
latest
they
with
were
that?
gonna work on Ardmore, is what I understand, but it seems like, yeah, we should have, they should have, someone, I believe, them, along with the city council, or, you know, someone in the city should go around and survey to make sure they don't close a plan that's not, fully completed.
They can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they went out with the previous company and did a lot of cleaning on those streets that were listed.
So this is
They've
Plan
since
B,
brought
so-
in a new company with a biological,
So
cleaning
the
agent.
first one you tried was not as successful as you're hoping for a better chance on the second one. Is that what we're seeing?
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So they're punting on the first team and going to option B.
Right, but I think we should let GFL, say, if you guys, yeah, so we think we need to get an update on those streets, though.
So, first and foremost, we had to stop the leaks. So that was part of the mitigation plan. That took, you know, several weeks to implement. Take a truck off the street, put another truck in the place of the route so we could service the customers. We are going from the worst to the best. So, and I'm not saying that we drove a lot of streets. I'm not saying that there is not a stain that we did not see or haven't addressed, but we're going from the worst stains to the and working our way to the best.
Right,
And I think Mark said it correctly. Repairs on the trucks had to happen first. We can't address the stains until we get the trucks dry, basically.
And I don't doubt that, but again, this was back March, actually, end of February.
End of February.
End of February, there was a meeting here that we discussed that GFL was gonna come in and evaluate and try to clean those streets, specifically in the hills of Minneola area. Again, Gold Dust Drive, Mystic Maze, Axel Street, Juniper Berry, Candace Chase, Bear Peak Road, Treasure Hill Street, Huntsman Ridge, and Chester Street in Old Minneola. So the question, to Jennifer's point, is what's the status of those streets, and why is it now we're looking at it again?
And I wouldn't know the streets. I'll let Eric address the specific streets. We drove several neighborhoods.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt you drove it. Absolutely no doubt you did that. What I'm questioning is what happened 3 months
I'll
ago.
have
And
to
maybe you don't
defer.
know because you weren't involved at that
Yeah,
point. That's a
I'll
very
have to
fair
defer.
answer if that's the case.
Sure.
So if the rest of GFL doesn't know, and then that's, again, if they don't know the status, again, that's a very fair answer, and then that'll be on the city. So I just need to know either from city or from GFL, what's the status of those 7, 8 streets that I just said? That's all I need to know.
As far as the status, sir, how everybody doing? I'm Eric. As far as the status, sir, of those streets, we did go through and we had them clean, okay? Quite a few times actually, and I believe you guys have pictures from those instances that we did clean. So we decided to go a different route.
Okay.
We decided to go a different route. Brought another cleaning service in. That's what we're doing now, which is superior, and we're real confident that this is going to work for us. Those streets that we did, we cleaned. We did do the cleaning on those streets. Like I say, you guys do have pictures, but we went another route. And like Ferguson just said, we could not move forward with the cleaning unless we got to stop the leaks on the trucks.
Sure.
We had to stop the leaks on the trucks,
Sure.
or we'll be like shooting ourselves in the foot.
Correct. Yeah, and again, I just needed, and you just gave me the answer, so that's great.
Sir,
That's all I
cool.
needed to know.
Yes, sir.
So if we're gonna go, let's say, option B, if that works great, are we gonna revisit back these streets to make sure they get the same treatment as the other streets? Or are these streets clean enough to the point where they don't have to be revisited?
No, sir. No, sir. With the new cleaning company that's in that we have set in place, those streets are those were the main streets that had the most oil that were on them, and so they are the first streets that we're going back over to check.
The list
on.
that I just said?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we're
And
starting.
that's what we're starting in the
Okay.
hills of Minneola.
Okay.
And we'll move forth throughout the rest of the neighborhoods, but we want to
Okay.
contain the bigger spills first, and then move out throughout the rest of the city.
Okay, so to summarize, you tried one option in these specific streets. It worked, but not as good as you want it to be. You got another company. You're gonna come in, you're gonna re-clean it, and if that works well, you're gonna continue on with the rest of the city of Minneola.
Yes, we're going to continue to do the rest of the city. That was the plan, sir.
Okay, all of the city of Minneola.
Yes, sir.
I
Where we got
don't-
leaks at.
I don't think they did Chester, though.
What?
That was part of,
Yeah, but I think that he just stayed in the hills. I don't think they came
Yeah,
down.
we've done Chester right there by the park. That has been clean too.
You did, so then I
Yes, sir,
apologize.
yes, sir, yes, sir. I believe I sent pictures for that one too.
Okay,
perfect.
so thank you.
So you gave me the answer. Great, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Nicole Marie, 879 High Point Circle. Okay, so a couple questions. You had spoke on the list, but I also remember listening and they said that there was others and they were going in order from most dirty to best. Is it only the list that you said, or is there other streets? Is that list provided to the city? Do we have access to that list? I mean, we said Old Minneola, but like Old Minneola is kind of big. There's multiple neighborhoods. So like, what are all the streets? What's the order from worst to best? And who's signing off on what's clean enough? So I think these are things that should be collectively spoken about, because you named 7 streets, but we also have all these other ones. So like, where's that list? Is that something that you guys are sending to them? Is that something they're providing as part of their mitigation? What's this list of these streets? What's included in that? And I don't know if you guys can speak on that, or.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're gonna be sending us kind of what the streets are gonna be looking at beforehand. That way, after they finish, they'll let us know we can go back.
So has that list already been provided?
That's a great question. I don't have that list. I was actually asked them.
I'm sorry. Come on.
Have a list provided today. With Superior Watch, we provided them with a list of the streets that we want to go out, starting in the hills of Minneola. And then from moving on from that way, every time that we send them out there, you guys will provide a list on what's going on.
Perfect.
So we want to be very transparent here.
Perfect.
So everybody knows what's going on.
So, Mark, can we have somebody from city staff just take pictures and sign off to Nicole's point? Have somebody sign off on it. That way we know that it's been taken care of and it's clean to our satisfaction.
Sure, we can do that. We've been asking them to take the pictures and send them in, but we can have someone go out and do it.
Yeah,
Just to
them sending
yeah.
Yeah, I
just to
agree with the same
verify.
thing. If they can send pictures, that's great, but we need to keep ourselves accountable, so we have to make sure that we send someone from the city to sign off on it.
Physically.
We can send Pam. She can.
I don't know, Eric, it's your street. You sound personal about this, so it could be you.
Oh, I'll be out there in the morning with my coffee.
Listen.
That's no problem.
Well,
I'll get to scrub. I'll scrub too.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I vote Eric.
For my street only.
In my humble opinion, I think the city, after they finish the street, that the city should drive it for like final sign off. Because they can clean 3 but miss 2. And like, oh, well, they did it.
Well, that's why I said, Mark, the
Yeah,
city
I
staff
get
needs to sign off on every street.
Once they get done with
Correct.
a street or a section, like we're done with phase 1 of the hills.
Correct.
Just that, but at some point in time, somebody needs to sign off on it.
Yeah, now that they're using that biological agent, so they're gonna spray it, give it a few days, and they're gonna come back and wash it. So
That's
it's gonna
fine. So
take
when
some
they're
to-
finished and they're ready for final walkthrough, they can let you know, just like a house.
Yep, just like buying a house. When they say we're good, then that's when we come out and we'll walk it.
well, to my point too, to Eric's point is, when you said that these reports were going to be generated, who are they going to go to? Are they going to go to city council? Are they going to go to our city manager, for updates on the cleaning and the washing?
I prefer that we're legislative, and that sounds more administrative to the city, and then he can just give
Okay,
us
so he can give us updates. I just want to make that clear. Okay.
Just make sure that you go buy a bunch of blue tape, so when the city drives through, we can just blue tape the street like they do a house.
Oh, gosh.
Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. Not to belabor this, but what I see is a lack of communication between GFL and the city. As was pointed out, this was discussed in February, and they recognized that there was something that had to preempt what the Plan A was. We should have known in March that they were going to Plan B, which to me makes common sense. You can't clean a road when you have equipment that's redirtying or recontaminating the road. So I think the strategy is right. It's a lack of communication. I believe they should give us a plan. They should know their resources. They should know what the plan is, submit that to the city, and say, we're going to do this subdivision, we're going to do that subdivision, and if somebody wants to fight for Eric's neighborhood versus Ardmore, that's fine. I don't care about that. I just want to say, we're getting it done, we're getting it done, we're getting it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, my street doesn't have to be next. I don't want anybody to think that, yeah, you could put mine last, all right, just for the record.
No, mine's next.
My subdivision's next.
Council. My name is Jim Suter. I'm new with the company, as they say, about 6 weeks now, or 7, but I've been through this kind of ordeal in the past in my 37 years, more than I'd like to say. But I would offer myself as our point manager, if you would, and if I had somebody to report to and with on the city side, then I will take as much time as we need to.
That would be a city manager, Market, or his designee.
Okay. All right.
Designee.
I'll give you my card and the number, and anytime you've got any call, we'll continue to work on the progress. It's rarely that you can get it up in one. It has to be like a leachate spill, or perhaps you can get lucky every once in a while if your radiator leaks, you can get that up. But once it's in the pavement, it'll come out, but it's eventually gonna leave a stain, and it's gonna require several treatments of different magnitudes and different styles, sometimes powders and whatnot, to pick it up. The original cleaning is not so much to get the stain out, because it won't come out that fast. It's to take and mitigate any environmental issues that might happen from that oil coming up and being washed into the waterways, or those sort of things. So we're very deliberate about that, or I have been in the past. And I've got a couple of other tricks up my sleeve, if you will, or I know some guys that are doing some of the things that Mike has brought in. So I'm not sure that even option B is the last option. So I'll offer, Mark, I'll offer you my card, and we'll go from there. I'll take the lead on the project.
And it's totally fine. Let's be honest. Option B, C, D may not work. And that's okay. As long as we're transparent with each other, you let us know what steps we're at. To Cheryl's point, we need to make sure that she knows, I'm saying her, not specifically her, but the whole residents and as a whole, that they're aware every step of the way. That option A didn't work, we're gonna try this, we're gonna be here this and this day, we're gonna inspect it on XYZ day. If that doesn't work, okay, no problem, we're gonna try something else. Gotcha. Now, we can't try every option in the world, so that's why I said, when we first started talking about this, will GFL be open to resealing the street if we've used every possible option?
I would go.
Because what I don't want to do is that we go through all this and we say, well, we tried, see you later. That's not going to work for us.
No, I got you. So I'd go with Mike's answer that, yeah, we're going to have to take care of what we damage
so
if we
Mark,
actually cause damage.
What I want to ask is, whoever you designate, to be the point person here, if they can please keep the council updated with emails, letting us know what streets they're going to inspect first, and after they do the inspections with pictures, and whether it passed or not.
I think he had Debbie doing that.
But then the report started going to Mark. But I will tell you, I think the reserve needs to be looked at first, because they're the ones that had the first complaints. Okay. We had several complaints from the reserve, and I think that's where it all started. Gotcha. But while you're up here, I just have a quick question too. On the City of Minneola receptacles, it said that they're scheduled for delivery on 4/8. Do you have any kind of anticipated date as when we are going to get the new receptacles? Because now we're looking at a week. And I know my subdivision hasn't had any new receptacles.
Eric will know. Eric, has Rarick delivered them to you?
Yes, okay. Yes, the deliveries has already taken place. We've been going at it since March 1st. Since March 1st to the date right now, we did 326 deliveries and repair. So, Perfect. It's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Just have a little patience with me.
No, you're good. I just want to kind of get an estimated date.
Yes, ma'am.
It's all good.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
And again, in regards to that, I mean, I'll say, when I had to reach out to Mr. Eric Poole and get a new receptacle and all that other fun stuff, it was like immediately, no complaints, no issues, other people in the residence. I mean, he's came to my door, let me know, we're here, so on and so forth. It's just unfortunate with the streets and the conditions that they're in, And it's just it concerns me for the simple fact that I don't know how long this is going to take for, each, whether it's Superior Cleaning or, Joe Schmo or Cleaning Services USA, when are we going to finally say, okay, we can't get these stains up, and we're going to have to go to plan, X. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty far out, but, yeah. I share your concern. It is potentially a long process. It depends of exactly what was spilled on the road and how quickly we got to it. So we'll go from there and see what the end game needs to be if it really just takes way too long to completely address it. I'd like to ask Councilman Hernandez to send me a list of those streets. Somebody was sharp enough to be able to grab all 7 of them, or knew that there were 7. I couldn't count them. I couldn't write them fast enough. So I'd like to take a look on those ones of concern as well, though. So we'll just, I'll just kind of head it up, and we'll pass the information on, and we'll plan on a daily or weekly basis and kind of show you where we're headed with this thing.
That would be awesome, because I knew Luke was updating me every week, but I know he's in a different county. I understand that. He moved on. But if we could just keep our transparency open, our communication very clear, I think that would really help our residents and the council as a whole.
Right. Thank you.
Anything else? Anything from council?
Everybody that, from GFL that spoke, if you don't mind making sure you sign in either the front or the back, so we'll have your information.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to see what happens first. The stains get removed or the grass at City Hall gets installed. So, okay. Anyway, moving on to Trailhead Park bathroom renovations.
Excuse me?
Oh, so sorry. Did you have a comment?
Yes.
My bad. I thought we did that. Go ahead.
Don't go away.
Thank you, Skip.
Oh, wait,
It's my turn.
Premature.
I have a series of questions for you. And we can go through them one at a time after I finish the series, but I've heard a lot about the stains on the road. We've been hearing about it for some time. But I'm concerned about what led up to the stains on the road. So here are my series of questions. What are the number of trucks that are used in Minneola? How old are the trucks on average? Do trucks service other cities? Do other cities right now have the same problem? Do trucks have pressure sensors or pressure senders in the hydraulic system to indicate a leak? When will the problem return if you do no more than fix the problem now? And will the trucks be replaced and repaired before the problem returns?
I know that in the fluid leaks that you had said that vehicles that cannot be repaired prior to the next Minneola service day will be taken out of rotation until rectified.
Does anyone want to try to answer those, or do you want to reply back?
If they have, I don't know.
Does anyone know?
Does anyone know?
I'll do my best. If you can repeat them, I'll try to address them as we go.
Want to go down the list?
Yeah, if you could.
First question, how many trucks are used in Minneola?
I believe the number's 10, right?
10?
10 different trucks.
How old are the trucks on average?
Average age, I'm going to have to provide that for you.
What do you think off the top of your head?
Probably the average age is probably 6 to 7 years.
6 or 7?
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
Do the trucks service other cities? That's a yes. Have other cities had the same problem? So these trucks only leak in Minneola?
Good question.
We're lucky.
Well, yeah, and I'll,
Did they leak in other cities? I'm sorry, come on up, Eric. I apologize. Great question. Sorry, Jeff.
Yes, we did have other leaks in other cities too as well.
Okay.
and you've pressure washed,
Yeah,
just for clarity,
clarity,
other areas.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, we have.
And-
Yes,
But
we
this
have.
is the hot spot, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're the hot spot.
Do the trucks have a sending unit that indicate the pressure is changed when a leak occurs?
Most systems do. The hydraulic system does not. The leachate that we addressed earlier does not.
And is that being looked at?
All of the systems on the truck are being looked at extensively. And the pressure testing, I believe you asked a pressure testing question. Yes, you can pressure test the cooling system. You can pressure test the hydraulic system. The pressure test on the packer portion where you're packing trash is literally that. You pack the trash, and there's a seal in the back, and that holds the trash in, and that is the test. So.
And when do you?
All that's being done on entry, exit and entry. So.
And theoretically, when would this problem reoccur if you did nothing else?
We're not just looking at the minimum to get it to stop. We're looking at the condition of hydraulic lines, pumps, things like that that are in disrepair, and repairing them. And as Mark said,
But my question is, if you did nothing else, when would it recur? And therefore, that leads to the question, what's the maintenance cycle?
so like let's just say a flexible hydraulic line has 30,000 duty cycle, and we've apparently missed the replacement cycle, so we're actually replacing them as we go, and sometimes we take a whole truck. I can't remember the truck number we're doing right now, but we're taking a truck and replacing every hose on it as we have it in our shop.
Are those hydraulic lines metal?
They're rubber on the outside, and then there are strands of like a steel belted radial, like a tire.
A woven steel.
And there's two ply, and then there's 4 ply. And we use, on the bigger hose, we use 4 ply. It's more expensive, but we're replacing them a mile a minute, as Mark said. So.
So when would you expect the problem to return if you did nothing else?
I'm not 100% sure I can answer that question.
I think he's asking, since you're fixing these trucks, when can we expect this to happen again if you negate doing anything? You just fix them and you just hit the road? And is that what you're trying to say? Is like when?
No, the real question is, when will you replace the truck?
Oh,
so that this doesn't happen
the
again?
duty cycle of the truck is, I believe it's 10 years on front load trucks, and I believe it's 12 years on rear loaders. And then roll off, I believe it is either 12 years as well.
So so can you define a roll-off, please? Is that the one that has the sidearm?
That wouldn't be, it'd be the commercial end of the.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Yeah, like behind Winn-Dixie and Publix.
That's fine. What is the side, where does the sidearm one fit in?
Like on an ASL, it'd probably be like 10 to 12-year cycle, depending on the
Okay.
condition of the truck.
Okay.
Any questions? Anything else, Joe? Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else at all?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
On this report that you gave us, that you indicated that drivers have been instructed on what to look for during their pre and post trips to correctly log in their driver vehicle inspection reports and relay to both the supervisor and maintenance to chart a course of action and workflow. Have those been turned in, and are they reported to our city manager?
Those are a legal document called a VCR, Vehicle Condition Report, or DVIR. And the drivers fill that, the pre-trip portion out every morning as a legal document after they inspect the truck. The truck leaves, goes on route, comes back into the yard. The driver fills that out as we do our post-trip inspection. And the post-trip inspection is a meeting of, drivers and management, maintenance, and just in case the driver doesn't know what a component is called, like it's leaking out of that, I don't know what that thing is, whatever, we help them along with, sometimes we actually wrap the line with like a pink ribbon, so the once it goes into the shop later in that evening for repair, we can find the leak pretty quick. But it's kind of a collaboration of maintenance and operations that actually helps through that. But the actual DVIR or VCR is a legal document. We fill them out every day.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay, we'll close the mitigation plan and
Yes.
move to the next one, which is purchase request for tailhead restroom renovations.
So we were asked to get some quotes. Back when there was a Artworks event at Trailhead Park, we had received some comments that the bathrooms looked outdated and old out at the park. So staff went out and sought some quotes to go in and replace the tile, repaint, add new fixtures inside there. And one of the people they contacted did not respond, but we do have two quotes here. There's a little bit of confusion on whether or not to just add this into the RFP and have one company do it all, or if you want to go ahead and have the bathrooms done now, do it all as far as upgrade the ball field and the bathrooms and everything. But based on one of the directives we had was to get these quotes, so we have them here before you for consideration.
I don't think there's a lot of companies that construct bathrooms / ball fields.
Right.
Doesn't seem to be so there probably have to be individual companies. And if you have one company that's just going to sub it out, it looks like there's going to be overhead, so it could be more beneficial to do them separately. What do you feel?
Yeah, no, I agree. Will these funds still come out of the CRA, or will these be a separate budget item for upkeep of the park?
They could certainly come out of the CRA. We could go ahead and get them started, and we can have the CRA reimburse the city for those costs. If you want to move forward with this now, we can.
Do we have any operational or capital funding for the park or available to this without pulling from CRA? Because the CRA is going to be tapped pretty heavily.
Yes, I agree.
We do have some funds that we can use for this project out of the general fund if you'd like.
Okay, I'd rather not pull from the CRA. Or rather use general funds for it.
That's fine. Do these people do the bathroom here in the city hall?
So we believe we have that solved. Yes, I know. They went and did another inspection of the lines, and it appears that maybe someone poured grout down the lines. They were able to get that out, and so we're hoping that fixes it. They believe it will.
Okay. We just need to get those bathrooms open as soon as possible without having the
They should be open now.
Okay, thank you. I'm fine, however you want to fund it. I'm good either way.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion, Mark, for this?
Is there anybody in the audience want to speak on this? Yes.
Debbie Downer, Cheryl Pavlak, 1808 Cary Street. I'm all for renovating these bathrooms at Trailhead Park, but we've got two quotes. One quote requires the city to buy all the fixtures, plumbing fixtures, electrical fixtures, etc. The other quote includes all that. Neither quote says what the cost of each element is, and when I was doing in business quotes, I'd have it laid out. we're going to have $10,000 for this, $10,000 for that, maybe 1 or 2% over, 5% over, whatever you guys normally do. And if they were going to go over that, then it was a change order. They'd have to come back to us and we would change, because it says depending on the materials, et cetera. The only difference between the two quotes is $8,500, and one includes the fixtures and one doesn't. Do we think we're going to get urinals and bathroom fixtures and the stall partitions for $8,000?
$8,000, yeah.
I don't think so. So that's all I have to say.
Well, I think to that point, Cheryl, I think we're still waiting on 3 quotes, and, on the 3rd quote, I should say.
I thought they said they weren't, what I read in the notes was they weren't going to turn one in.
Right, they weren't gonna turn one in, but I believe, are we sending to another company, Mark, in order to get 3 competitive bids?
They are seeking alternatives, but right now this is what we
Right,
have.
so there's only 2 currently.
Mhm.
Are we actively seeking a 3rd?
We can and we will, and I believe they talked to 1 or 2 other companies. We just didn't get quotes back. I knew this was a high priority, so we wanted to get it to you as quick as we
Yeah,
could.
it was.
So can we go back and tell them to either include or exclude the fixtures so we
Or
know
get a
what
3rd quote.
we're going into as
Well,
far as dollars?
Yeah, I think to your point, Cheryl, we need to level set, because right now you're
Thank
comparing apples and oranges. So we have to level set the quotes in order to make sure that we are getting comparable quotes between the 2.
Yes.
And one thing is also, Mark, what is the overall estimated cost of this project?
We're looking between $70,000 and $80,000.
70 and 80. So Scott, just to confirm on that figure, that's below the threshold that's needed in order to go for competitive bids, correct? As per the Florida statutes?
Yes.
Okay, so that being said, even though, to Mark's point, we can move forward without that 3rd bid, if we're able to get that 3rd one within a timely manner, I think it will do us justice in order to find that. But to Cheryl's point, we need to make sure that we are comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges on these 2 bids.
Yeah, I'll check with staff. My understanding was it does make note that the city's to buy the fixtures. My understanding that the costs are included, but we'll double check. The reason why we were doing that is to reduce costs to
Sales
not
tax.
have to pay sales
Sales
tax.
tax, yeah.
Right, and that's fine, but again, let's just make sure that if we're gonna be procuring the equipment per se, then let's also make sure that we're getting that quote from the second company who has it included to back it out of theirs as well.
You got it.
Okay.
So, anyone else?
Jennifer Morse, 1064 Golden on Loop. Sorry, I had my notes from last meeting, so I had all my paper, but I don't have it today. The bid request, or the RFP, said you wanted an adult changing table, correct? Are you still wanting that, Mr. Mayor?
It would be nice to have. but we-
Actually, I think on one of them, there is an adult changing table, and the other one didn't specify that it was an adult changing table.
No, they're still the koala baby.
No, one
changing.
actually specified adult changing table, like written out. And then the other one showed koala. That was not a adult one.
Okay, okay. I didn't see any, I wish I had my thing.
And let me see if I can find it here, hold on.
I think you're correct.
I think I saw, obviously I could be wrong, but I think I saw both of them mention koala changing tables. And I think Cheryl was saying, I noticed the one, so first off, this item is consider the request to approve the purchase of construction services from Android Property Solutions. So you're about to motion on approving the bid that came in at the lowest. So I think that it sounds like we're wanting, which makes complete sense, is to get more quotes and possibly look at what you're requesting when we're looking at these bids. And I didn't see, I mean, I know that an adult changing table is very expensive, and I didn't see any mention on where that was going or any kind of configuration. But my one main request would be to put in changing tables in both the male and the female restroom, which is not included. It's only female restrooms, because dads change diapers too. Okay, thank you.
Yep, duly noted.
It does say adult, correct, Cheryl? I'm still looking. I'm sorry, Cheryl. Can you please come up? Sorry, Nicole.
Just kind of killing the 3-minute rule.
My apologies. But you did mention something in the audience.
I mentioned to Jennifer, and I apologize if I shouldn't have done that, that one of the quotes does state that it will include an adult wall-mounted changing table, but it says, note, plumbing fixtures, and that's what they call those things, according to this quote, are provided by the customer. So it's not clear. That's why I was questioning the quotes. The other
Thank
one
you.
doesn't specifically state adult changing that I could find, but it might be there. Because I thought I saw a picture of one of them, but
Yeah, the picture of one, it actually shows the koala on there.
yeah, that's for the baby changing station, though.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll take it back. We were just trying to bring this forward as quickly as possible. We'll
Yeah.
take it back and get
Thank you.
some more quotes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Nicole Marie, 879 High Point Circle. I also wanted to ask a clarifying question. Mark, I believe this is to you. You had made a comment that the city is going to be buying and providing the fixtures, but if that's the case, doesn't that change the budget because you're going with the lowest bid and then we still have to pay for the fixtures? And was that just the fixtures that Cheryl was mentioning? Is there a list of what that cost is? And are we going to be dealing with another garage door
I don't have all those
situation?
answers. This is one of the things I delegated, but I will personally get involved with this and get it.
Okay, and like I said, it's just more of like, I don't want to repeat fire station garage door situation. If we're responsible for fixtures, where is it coming from? If we're doing a budget for this and we're hiring a contractor, isn't that something that would make the most sense for them to just take care of all of it, you know, for?
So we self-purchase items on occasion to reduce our costs because we don't, if the contractor buys certain items, they have to pay sales tax. We don't.
Okay, but does it change? What I'm saying is, say if we're saying it's $70,000 and we go with the bid, because I'm spitting numbers out, $65,000, does that put us over the threshold because you're paying it out of pocket, or does it actually work out to be cheaper than what the other bid would to include it? That's what you get what I'm saying? Like, or if we're not comparing 3 different bids here, are we comparing, like to Eric's point, apples to apples and making sure that it really is in our best interest? Because if all we're trying to do is avoid sales tax and it still ends up costing more, there's a delay time in, you know, delivery and all of these other things, is it no longer warranted by the contractor who's fixing? You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's other things that, you know, is their work going to be warranted even though we're providing the fixtures?
So to that point, they both should be similar in scope in the request. So let me go back and verify that. We'll seek another quote or two, and we'll bring it back before council.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll take a motion to table this to the next meeting.
Sure, please do.
Can I get a motion to table this to the next meeting, please?
I'll make a motion to table the purchase request, Trailhead Park restroom
To
renovations.
date certain, Scott, in case they
To-
don't get 3 in.
It's not an advertised item, so you wouldn't even need to table it if you didn't want to. He could just bring it back when it's
Okay.
ready to be presented.
Just bring it back one. Okay,
Yeah, but let's bring it back within a reasonable time frame and not wait,
Yeah.
you know,
If
months.
you
and
want to
months.
make the next meeting, that'd be fine.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Just bring it back.
Yes, that is
Say
the
bring it
motion
back to
I would
next
like
meeting.
to, that's the motion
Mark,
I'd like.
Are the quotes time sensitive?
We can. That's a great question. We'll make sure the 2 that we did receive that they'll still honor that price. If not, we'll have them readjusted and we'll bring it back forward again.
Hopefully they're not buying
We
parts
should,
from
we
China.
should plan to bring it back to council when he knows that.
Okay. Okay, because if we don't do something tonight, there is a possibility with everything going in the economy, they could come back at a higher price. Too, with tariffs. I'm just saying we risk that, so
Yeah,
I'm
right.
fine either or.
And again, and just to put on the table, and we risk this sitting for another 4 months with nothing getting done.
Yeah, or we could just approve the one and go with it tonight.
Right, but I don't think it's that difficult to get a third quote to renovate one bathroom. I think a week is plenty of time.
2 weeks, but yeah, that's fine.
2 weeks, plenty
Wait
of
for
time.
it in 2 weeks.
3
I'm
weeks,
fine.
actually,
3 weeks.
till the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, but you understand my point, right? We don't want this to be
Right.
another Minneola project where nothing gets done.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on, Jennifer has a comment.
We already have 3 minutes, but okay.
How are we seeking these quotes? Are we just calling people that we know that might be doing it? Because I never see any of the bid RFQs, RFPs on the website.
Right, in order to try to speed this up, they called various companies and sought quotes that way. We try to also always give businesses that are in Minneola a chance to bid on those. And so one of those is from a Minneola business. But we'll find out some of our other contractors we've used in the past why they didn't bid on it.
But this may be a legal question just for my knowledge or information or whatever. Aren't we legally required to publicly say that the city's requesting quotes? No?
Not if you're below the threshold, yeah, so,
Okay.
which is either $200,000 or $300,000, depending on the context, so,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Our purchasing policy just requires if we're below it to get competitive quotes, but that's about it. And council frankly can override that if they want, but they need to be comfortable that it's ready to move forward, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
So then I'll make a motion to table item 6, purchase request of Trailhead Park restroom renovations for the next meeting, in order to have time to have 3 competitive bids, all within the same parameters of the scope.
I'll second.
Okay, first and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, last one is demolition or evaluation of Minneola Realty. We just have to decide as a council, if there's any audience wants to speak on this, that we demolish it or we send out for evaluation. Knowing that once you go to evaluation, then you've got the part of putting it out. If it comes back bidding and everything going on at the house for the CRA projects and stuff like that. So we've got there's a lot, this will probably exceed the purchasing threshold. So this is a little bit more so.
So, and I completely understand that, however, we all agreed at the workshop that we were good on this route, and last meeting was a very heated debate, seeing it on vacation. It was very heated. I was disappointed that it was tabled, but here we are today. I am all still for having this being evaluated. That's what we decided. We told the people at the workshop that we would do. We all have their opinions to change our mind, 100% understand that. But we all did meet together in a group to say that. So I am all for, and I will continue to vote for having it evaluated to see if we can save it or not.
Did you want to do a roll call, or do you want to hear audience, or how do you want to work this?
Audience to be heard.
Dave Yeager, 2750 Purple Meadow Court. Again, I acquired that a long time ago. We should have been good stewards of the building. Building needs to go, generator needs to be sent to the auction, and we need to go a clear slate and be done with it. Another $10,000 out the window to get an assessment to see if it's worth anything. If it was worth something, we would have been good stewards and taken care of it in the first place, and we didn't. We treated it like a stepchild and didn't do anything good to it and never took care of it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. I would posit to those that want to spend $10,000 on a structure that literally looks like it's falling down and has not been taken care of, what historical value will that provide? If I were going to the doctor and I felt that I was needing surgery and there was a 2% chance that I'd survive that surgery, I wouldn't spend the money. If it were my own pocketbook and this were my home, I wouldn't spend the money. I took my granddaughter, who's 16, past there, and I explained a little bit to her, unbiased. I told her, this is the new library, this is a historical building, and she said, historical? In what view? And I said, it's an old craftsman style home. And she says, we watch HGTV all the time. This is gonna cost $200,000 to fix. Why would we spend $10,000 to find out that it's structurally unsound, as well as then we have to face, okay, he says, we can restore it. Are we ready to pay the $250,000 to $300,000 to restore it or to move it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I've been tallying up my time that I haven't used, so just, no, I'm just kidding. Nicole Marie, 879 High Point Circle. Okay, so I have some points here. First, I would like to talk about this not to exceed $10,000 limit that we're talking about, the structural engineer. So before we put a number out like that, I mean, was there any quotes that were actually provided by the city that says that it would cost $10,000 to have a structural engineer out there? Or are we just pulling numbers out of our bohiny to scare the city and basically say, oh, well, this is gonna cost X amount of dollars, when we really don't know? Because it says, right, not to exceed, which means with that verbiage, it was not looked at, it was not actually evaluated, and we're just kind of putting a number here just to make it look good on paper. And you can just mull on that, we don't have to answer it right away. The other thing that I would like to to go on record is last meeting I was verbally attacked after the meeting by an unknown to me member of the audience in regards to what was discussed over here in this meeting that night, and also what was happened at the workshop by somebody who wasn't present, didn't sign in, never introduced themselves to me, and it was an entire thing back and forth in front of my 9-year-old, who I then had to tell him it was okay and explain to him, you know, why that was not appropriate. So for all of those who didn't attend the workshop, I'm sorry that it was at an inconvenient time. But for those of you who did attend the workshop, you know, we did discuss this, and the reason why we decided to go this route, which again, there's actually 3 tiers of a historic restoration process. Tier 1 being to restore it to its original historic value, which costs the most money, right? And that was not what we were doing here. When the mayor brought up his suggestions at the workshop, he was talking about how it was anywhere between $70,000 to $90,000 to tear it down and put up a pavilion. So when we were looking at all of the different routes and options, because if we would tear the building down, we would have to remove plumbing, we would have to remove all the electrical, then we would have to go back in, put sod, tear the sod back up, put money, invest it back into whatever it is we were gonna lay there, lay new concrete, lay a new building. It's the exact same amount of money which would cost us to do a tier 3 or tier 2 investment. We had multiple people come out that day and give evaluations, all said that they would be able to come into the ballpark price, but we said at $257,000. And all of them said that in order to move forward to guarantee that rate, that the only thing that would need to be done is to have this structural engineer come out and look out. So again, we're just beating a horse with a hammer here when it's fully alive and well and functional, when we had a plan of a plan of action to move forward, and it was not accurately taken. So I am tapping into my time bank here, but I did want to, kind of leave this to you, because at the end of the day, we're saying it's going $10,000, we keep throwing that number out, but nothing was actually, we never really consulted with anyone, and that's not been confirmed as a price, correct?
Yeah, I think there was a range that 1 or 2 of the builders gave us of what it might cost, and that's where that number came.
Right, but they said that was from their knowledge, and that the city would probably have better prices, and that was something that they left for you to pull. So was that something that you looked into to see what it would cost before we put not to exceed $10,000 here?
We have not sought quotes for that, no.
Okay, so if we are seeking quotes to what the cost of the demolition is, and we're taking, surveys from the streets to do it for free, don't you think that's something that we should have included before having a discussion tonight about this? Just to have all of our I's dotted and T's crossed here. correct? I mean, we are talking about the cost. So if we're talking about how much something is going to cost, then we need to have the numbers at the table, because if not, what are we talking about? Just my 2 cents. You can take it and get $1 back. Thank you.
Okay, I'll bring it back to council for discussion.
Wait, she's-
Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry about that.
Thank you for not seeing me walk up here. Jennifer Morse, 1064 Golden Dawn Loop. Just to reiterate, it seems biased. The agenda item seems already biased when we're putting a number that we arbitrarily pulled out of our hat. I can ask good old ChatGPT, and the low range is $3,000. The high range is $7,000, and that's with geotechnical soil testing, which on a 1,400 square foot building, probably not necessary. We've personally walked in that building. There are no creeks, slants, or anything like that. I was very pleasantly surprised of its condition. I don't know if everyone has walked into that building, but the energy in it, I could see the veterans loving that space and sitting next to the fireplace. Not that it has to work, but just the atmosphere of it. And the other thing, because I am a stickler on the project management of the city, we don't have a plan, and nor will we ever have a plan to erect anything in its place. And it may be 10 years from now, when we get a new city council, that would ever happen. So if we had an option B, we don't. So the $10,000 is a moot point, because it's not even a true statement. The structural integrity of that building seems like I've been in worse buildings than that on stilts in beaches. And 3, where you don't have another plan to erect anything in its place, and it would be cheaper to renovate it than it would to put something else there. Thank you.
Okay, I just need some clarification here. Either A, and Scott, this is a question for you. We have 2 options on the table. Either A, we get it engineered, and do we have to send that out for quotes, or is Mark just gonna get it engineered because it's below the threshold? Or do we determine night to tear it down, and Mark just gets it tore down because it's underneath the threshold? I really don't wanna see this come back after tonight.
Neither do I.
What are our options? Well, that's up to council. I hate to tell you, it's however you'd like to do it. I mean, you can either, whoever wishes to make a motion, you can instruct the
I'm just trying to
city.
understand, because last time,
Yeah, you don't have to get bids for, I mean, I think the notion of the $10,000 threshold was just to put a cap on the authority that he would have, so he could go out and get a quote, and as long as it was less than $10,000, he could go ahead and get the structural engineer. The demolition, you don't have it here in front of you. You had the quotes last time. You could either move forward with the quotes you have, although I understand the one company withdrew its quote. That's up to you, or you can ask that those quotes be brought back at a later meeting, or however you like to do it. If you wanted to just move forward on the lowest quote that you have and instruct your city manager to do that, you could do that on the demolition. Or you can go another route.
and
That's up to
you have to have 5 members here to vote on the demolition of a building. Not,
Yeah.
not
Arguably. That's the surplus item. I don't think technically you have to have them, but you have all 5 of you here anyway.
Right, so I was just saying, to Eric's point, is I think when we talked about demolishing it last year,
Usually
that's
best,
kind of got
yes.
pushed.
Yeah.
That's fine. So just, okay, with that said, I'll bring back and entertain a motion or anything from council.
Can I say something?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
I'm having a bad night with you tonight, too. I apologize.
That's all right. At the meeting, the workshop, a decision was made. And I don't have a problem with that decision, frankly. However, I think the decision was premature, because when you ask an engineer to come in and evaluate that building, you're going to have to tell them what you want to use the building for. Basically, how you want the structure, if it's going to be preserved, what kind of a structure you want it to end up being. And I'll explain that in a little more detail. If you want to use the building as a home, period to 1924, I guess that's about when it was built. I'm not totally sure. But I'll use the year 1926, because that's when the building came into the city, because we were incorporated in 1926. So if you say to the engineer, I'd like you to tell me, is this structurally sound? You have to tell them what you want to put on the roof, because different roofs have different structures. You have to tell them how many people you're going to put inside of this building. If it's a period home and people are going to go in and look at it as an antique, that's a home. How many people are in a home? 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're going to use it as a meeting hall for societies and veterans and Boy Scouts and things of that nature, you're going to have to decide what the occupancy will be. If it's going to be 20 people to 30 people, you may very well not have strong enough floor joists in the building, in which case it might have to go to 2x8s. Right now it's 2x6s. If it goes to 2x8s, then the floor has to be torn out. And 2x6s will have to be put in. That would be a good time to redo the floor, because there's all kinds of different floor pieces inside the building. There are a lot of patches inside of the building, including metal patches on the floor, wooden patches in the middle of the building. And, and to repair the floor, you'd have to put either something on top. Once you fix the patches and level the floor, you'd have to put something on top of that to again put a floor on top of it. So from an engineering standpoint, he walks through the door and says, gee, you didn't tell me what you wanted to do with the building. I can't tell you what's good or bad. And if you crawl inside the crawl space, which I can't do it at my age, sorry, but you go inside the crawl space and you find that the piers holding up the floor, because it's a form of cracker house going back to the 1926. It looks to me like it's been rebuilt or reconditioned sometime after it was built. However, there's 5, 6 other homes in the neighborhood close by that have a similar characteristic. They have stucco on the outside, and they're probably pier floors on the inside. So that means, from an engineering standpoint, you've got to calculate what the load is on the floor and how you're going to pier the floor. By pier, I mean the bricks that come up, the cement blocks that hold the floor up. And basically, underneath those cement blocks has to be something that will compound the sand. So the minute you start touching the floor, for whatever purpose you want, you might have to go down into the crawl space and fix that problem too. And beyond that, there's no moisture barrier between the dirt, which forms the base of the house, and the floor. So you'd have to look at whether you want to seal the house up, and you have to, if you're going to make it a period of home, are you going to put in air conditioning? They didn't have that in 1926. Are you going to put in electricity? They didn't have that in 1926. Are you going to put in the plumbing? They may have had plumbing in 1926, but I don't think they had sewerage in 1926. So I don't know what's left on the land. I assume that somebody came along and added the pipe that's sticking out of the back of what's the back wall now. Someone put plumbing outside of the back wall, and that was for the bathroom. I can't imagine what they did for the kitchen, but I assume it's done properly. But I'm not sure that that bathroom and that kitchen belongs in a meeting hall. So you have to consider whether you want to rework the whole inside of the building, make it all the same. The bathroom is 1940s look. The kitchen is a fairly modern look. I'd say it was rebuilt probably sometime in the early 90s. I don't know, but it's modern. The bathroom is old-fashioned. And if you're going to restore the building, you got to kind of make it all look alike, both inside and out, in my opinion. So I agree with asking somebody to come in and to evaluate it, but I don't agree with doing it right now until we come up with what we want to use it for. The first thing you have to decide is, what do you want to use it for? Well, let's use it for a home. Let's use it for a museum. Each one of those three options has different requirements for the structure. Let's put a tile roof on it like the other houses in the neighborhood. They all have, not all, but I think 3 or 4 of them have tile roofs, which was very predominant back in the late 1920s into the early 1930s, probably all the way up to the 1950s. I didn't live in Florida back then, but I'm guessing. So with that said, you look around the building and you say, well, what's the value of the building? That's subjective. Everybody has a different opinion what value is. Each of us do, the ladies in the audience do, the people in the audience do. Everybody's got their opinion. So when it comes down to thinking it through and you say, well, I'd like it to be period correct, well, then the roof is questionable. The structure itself is questionable because I don't think the footing on the porch is sound. That's why the porch is sinking in. I'm not sure about the footing around the rest of the house. It may be okay, and I'm not sure what the house siding is made out of, and I have no idea what's inside the walls. Is there any insulation inside of it? My guess is back in the 30s to the 50s, I didn't see much insulation inside of houses, and I worked on a lot of houses back in the 50s. In the attic, I'm not going up in the attic to look, but the evaluating engineer could do that, I guess. You go up in the attic, it may or may not be insulated. So the question is, how far do you want to go? And if you look at it from the outside of the house, it's atrocious what the back of that house looks like. If it was to be saved, we shouldn't have chopped off the back of the building. But my understanding is they needed that for the parking space for the library. So when we started to build the library, we proceeded to wreck the building, in my opinion. If you go around the house, okay, the wiring is not done correctly. And I say that because I'm an electrician. The wiring is not done correctly. Somebody ripped the service entrance off the back wall. And by the way, when they did that, the color of the house was green. So I think the original color of the house was green when the stucco was put on. So a complete rewiring of the house, that's a fair amount of money. Redoing the plumbing, that's some money. Fixing the air conditioning system, it looks like that hasn't been maintained properly. That's going to be a fair amount of money. The roof has some damage on the south side. Apparently, there must have been a tree close by it that tore up some of the shingles. So the roof, even if it stays as it is, got to be repaired somewhat. And I don't know how old the roof is. Generally speaking, roofs over 10 years old, insurance companies don't want to insure. And if you're going to put a roof on it and you want the building to last 100 years as a showpiece, I think you're going to have to put something better than asphalt shingles on it, which is what we did with the little schoolhouse library, and what we did with the new library. They have metal roofs on it, which I would like to have seen in the fire station, but we settled for an asphalt roof to match the city hall, and then the city hall had to be fixed a few years ago. We're going to have to fix the fire station in 15 to 20 years. All these things have to come together as, what do you want the thing to look like? What do you want it to be? I haven't heard that. Maybe that's the first thing we should have talked about. However, if we want to go forward with having somebody investigate it, write down a few things that you want. tell them what you want to use the building for. And you can use it for multiple things. You can set it up as a little old house, and you can use it as a meeting hall, but you gotta clear the inside and make it strong enough to have 20 to 30 people in it. That's my piece.
At this point in time, we'll bring back to council for some type of motion or direction.
So just one quick
Right.
item to note on this. So, and Joe did bring up a lot of good points regarding checking the bones of the house. But I believe that, I could be mistaken, that the building does have electrical that has, maybe not past code, but it does have electrical, plumbing, et cetera. So all the creature comforts, if you will, that Joe mentioned. So not to discredit Joe, it may all have to be ripped out, very well maybe. But I do know that it does have those, the plumbing, electrical, wiring, et cetera.
Bring it back to council. Any other comments or direction, please?
I'm going to make a motion, but before I do, I want to explain my motion. Just like Mayor Yeager said, this has been sitting there for years, and we have done nothing to it. There's been no inspiration, no vision for it, and it's sitting there and rotted. So regardless if we use this as a hall, meeting building, whatever, it has to be redone. And it's not going to be a historical building anymore. It's going to be a space where a historical building sat. And we are going to spend tons of money. Listen, I've been in the construction business for a minute, and I don't need an engineer to come and tell me to spend $10,000 to tell me it's not worth redoing. I think all of us can walk in there and go, to Joe's point, it needs all kinds of work. I don't want to spend $10,000 on someone to tell me it needs all this work. I know it does. So with that said, I'm going to make a motion to demolish 107 North Main Avenue.
We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We're going to roll call vote from Vice Mayor.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
Project updates.
So, there's not a lot of new major work going on. We did order doors from a different company for the building next door.
Hold on, Mike, let's go one by one. So first is the Minneola Library.
Oh.
So insulation is in, sheetrock is in. They should start doing the civil work soon. I don't know the exact date, but.
Okay, can we get a date for next time? Because the last update from March 18th, which was almost a month ago, was that insulation has been installed and sheetrock delivered. So.
Yeah, sheetrock's been delivered and been installed.
Okay.
The glass and the storefront is installed. I think they moved one of the columns. It looks like they've got that moved. That was one of the punch list items. So the civil work should begin very soon out on the parking lot area.
Are we still targeting September 1st as opening day?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. That schedule has not changed.
Okay. Let's see. Next is City Hall Fire Station.
Okay, the building next door is, we have 2 fire station projects going on. We're wrapping this one up. We're starting another one. The building next door, we did get the substantial completion letter from the architect. We installed fencing instead of the doors in order to get that letter from the architect. And the reason for that is you don't want a toddler or someone wandering in under a truck and then we go out on a call. It's a safety issue. I called and talked to the door manufacturer that they had originally used. He could not guarantee me that we would have those doors within 12 weeks, but he told me they're doing everything they can to get them done. The doors they sent us pictures of the doors. They were constructed. Glass is an issue with those, even with the current provider that we're using now. I guess there's challenges in getting that kind of glass brought in. But ultimately we decided because we couldn't get a guarantee that we would just go ahead and switch companies. So we've done that, and those doors are on order from a different company. And it's gonna be 12 to 16 weeks with the new company. The second station that we're working on, we should have a site plan go before the next P&Z meeting, a concept site plan for Station 2. We've had meetings with Richland stakeholders in regards to where we're placing the building, the driveway. Want to be good partners. We've let Scorman Development know as well, and given everybody a chance to review that and have input. We had a meeting with Richland a week or two ago, and we're going to make some changes, and then it'll be ready to present to everybody for review.
No, we skipped, so we went over. I know the second fire station is a little below. Right now we're at Grassy Lake Road striping, winding, and stop signs.
Okay, the plans, the state has asked for a copy of the 90% plans, and last
Bless
week,
you.
and our engineers working on providing the state with an update. Because it's partially funded by the state, they are involved in every aspect of that, plans review as well. So we have communicated with the state as late as last week, and Tetra Tech's working with them on that.
So plans have been submitted to the state?
Yes. At each stage, they want to see the design as it goes through and provide input.
Any estimates of when that'll be completed?
I don't have an estimate on when the state will have their comments back, but I can certainly ask them. There's other projects we're working on with the state, and they're extremely busy like everyone, so they would like to get it turned around quickly, but they have so many that they're reviewing that it's taking a little time.
That's the same update for the Education Avenue lane winding?
Yes.
So the state's involved in the Grassy Lake striping and widening? I thought that was only for the Grassy Lake, for Citrus Grove.
Because we obtained a $1 million allocation from the state for design and partial construction. Because of that, they want to be involved in each of the steps. That's understandable.
Okay. Second fire station we reviewed. The speed monitoring project on Oak Valley, the speed tables.
So the rubber humps are in. We're still waiting for the signs to come in. They've found a company to come in and install everything. One of the requests I made to staff is to go through where the speed humps are going to be located and make sure those homeowners know that they're coming, and not just wake up one day and they're there. And my understanding that those have been done. They made contact with each of the homeowners, and they all seem to be in support of, which I was surprised about that. So that's good. I may not like them once they go in with the noise and all, but hopefully they like them even after they're in.
Hancock widening project. This is a county project, but like I said, it's going to be in.
Yes, the bid documents the state had reviewed and provided comments. Those bid documents were revised based upon those comments and resubmitted to the state last week, and so we're awaiting their review. And if it's all approved, then that bid will go out on the street and pretty quickly thereafter.
Do we know an estimate of when the winding will be completed?
Not at this time, no.
Just to clarify that, can you note that that's the component between the Turnpike and 561A? Because Hancock is
Yeah.
going, I'm just saying so somebody doesn't think it's going to go 4-lane all the way to 455. It will, but
Eventually.
right.
Right.
I'm just saying right now. I saw the light was in.
Yeah, it's been in. Yeah, I don't think it's working yet.
It's one that got a Schofield.
They turned that on today,
Oh, they did? Oh, okay. Let's see.
later this afternoon.
All right. Time for the big one. Wastewater. Yeah, wastewater treatment plant.
It's still under design. I don't have any major updates on that, but they are working on the design still.
Okay, can you have them come in for the next meeting? Because it's going to be a while since we had a design on that, an update. Sure.
not being out.
Tower truck,
Sorry, missed.
Waiting on a crew.
waiting on crew. GFL contract we just reviewed. RFQ for Trailhead, I know we have our CRA meeting next week, if I'm not mistaken, to review that. Workshop, we're still on waiting. I did speak to Nate, not that Nate, the other Nate, for surveying, so I'm gonna get with him this week. So after the CRA meeting, then I'll get with him and we'll start running those surveys out.
Can I ask a question about that? I did, and I don't know, I'm just asking. I know the county is doing a survey, or have you looked at the county survey?
I'm having a meeting with Sean and with Kirby on Thursday, so I'll be able to bring that up.
I'm just saying they're just how they're, not what the survey is, but just how they're administering.
How they're doing, right.
How they're administering the survey.
Okay, I'll bring it up. Like I said, no action's been done with Nate yet, so when I talk to both of them.
Yeah, I was just saying that I just saw that they're pushing it out, so what was their plan, and maybe you could leverage off what they did, maybe to help.
Okay. Second phase septic to sewer.
That right now is been designed, but it's currently on hold. We don't have all the funding to do the whole project, but we also don't have the capacity yet at the plant to put them online. We are discussing internally whether or not to put the main in, but not install the service laterals yet. But we're being discussed as we speak.
So I was speaking to someone at the Lake County Water District Board, Management Board. He was telling me that they do offer grants that they will bring to the city if we have shovel-ready projects. Have we engaged with them at all?
We did, and we got funding from them last time, and
Okay.
so we have not asked for them funding for them yet. Part of the discussion is right now we got to be careful about adding a bunch of homes to the wastewater plant until it's expanded.
Bless you.
But we have sought funds not only from the water authority. They love the septic to sewer projects, but also we got funding from CDBG monies and other sources for the last project we did.
So we can't really tie in any more houses until we have the wastewater treatment plant in, which based on what notes we're talking about, it's not gonna come up, it won't be online for another year and a half, 2 years.
You think?
Probably longer than that. We hope to have the design done in a year. Construction probably take a couple of years. We could, you and I, we can talk about that.
I think it just goes down to threading the needle. Like you can start bringing these on when you know you got something else, because it's just.
Right now, they're, you know.
No, it's just
Yeah.
surprising. Then we have the status of downtown CRA priority project list.
We're gonna have that workshop coming up next.
Landscape of City Hall, still no grass, so that's cool. That's coming.
It's been a treat. It's been a real treat. Sometimes the low bidder is great, sometimes it's not always so great.
I will say from a distance, it looks
There you go.
clean. From a distance, it
1,000
really
foot
does.
view.
It looks like, it really does. It looks like, it's a nice, clean landscape, nothing against a building and until you get closer, but from a distance, it looks really nice.
So, and Scott, we're kind of just, there's nothing really can do. We're just kind of at the mercy of, because we've actually lost there has been no financial impact to us, so.
Just remember, the space shuttle was built with the lowest bidder. Memorial wall for veterans, first responders.
So Vice Mayor Service and several staff members met on site last week. Or
Yes,
this
I
week,
believe so.
last week.
Mhm.
To discuss some ideas. Staff's put together a few concepts for Vice Mayor Service to review. The granite for the names, for the gray granite, you're looking at about 6 months. For the black granite, it's going to take longer than 6 months. But we've talked about getting the pad poured for now. And,
At least for the concrete around the pole for at this moment.
And this is just my question,
Mhm.
can you put a pad poured and then some type of signage on it of what it's gonna look like? And then say it's kind of in process. And we are getting the granite from the US, correct?
Grant from where?
We
The
are getting
granite from the US.
And it's a serious question because my mother-in-law had her tombstone commissioned, her headstone commissioned, and when she found out they actually imported it in from Italy, and I'm like, then she was all upset because she was all buy American, and then they said a red rose was coming from Italy, and so she was not happy then.
The gray granite is United States. The black granite is not United States.
Okay.
Italian way. We don't have any. Doesn't grow in the United States.
I just thought it was, okay.
Thank you, Mark.
I think that's it. And then I remember at one point, I'm not sure if you still want this, Pat, but you asked Mark to put all the project managers' names associated with each project on this list.
Yeah, I still think we need to see.
We did that. We have it on there.
Okay. Can you send that? I'm going to send you this updated. Can you just put the names so I can update it? Awesome. Any other projects you want to add at this time?
We have the,
Sorry, we had the splash pad at the library.
right? And we also have the pier, not the dock.
Yes. Oh, that's
Thank you.
right. Yeah.
And we did also discuss the pier when we went to the memorial site. And we're working on getting that done as well.
Nice.
Splash pad as well is being done as well.
You're working on the plans, any updates on that, Pam, when you'll be expecting them?
No, Mark would know better on dates when those plans will be out for actual looking over.
I don't know if this is the time to ask it. You said any future projects, or is it during things? I'll just do it now. That is to kind of start of what we're going to do with the overlook, the park. It was brought up, and it was a great idea. We as a council think it needs to be an overlook in a conservation area, but it's told. We all know that council will rotate out in 4 years, and nothing's going to happen in the next 4 years. Probably in that park just because of cost.
So it's overlooking the park. That's the 30-acre parcel behind the school?
Yeah. Scott, this is more for you. Can we protect it and just put I did speak to Commissioner Parks, and it was brought up, somebody suggested we just put a conservation easement on top of that. Because if not, very well could be 4 years, somebody could say, we want soccer fields, and all of a sudden, all of Ferndale's gonna look at these big lights. So how hard is it to put a conservation easement that can't be overturned by future council? Just mainly on the piece behind it.
I'll look, I assume you want to go through the state conservation.
Yes.
Want to go the
program.
full board that it's
Yep, I'll look into it.
not the
and-
ordinance resolution that somebody can change. It just how do you make sure there's really no conservation easements here? It's in Sean Parks' district, so that's something I mentioned to him, but that just kind of locks it in that it at least will stay green.
Agreed.
And if there's any other areas here that we want to make conservation, can we think of that? I know we have a lot of parcels, and some of them aren't really worth doing because I know we have all the in streets of everything on Lake Shore, but any of the large parcels we have, we'll make conservation.
I think Nicole missed that one. Oh, no, it wasn't to come up. It was, I think you missed what Pat said.
Yeah, can we wait till public comment? But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I just want to, so you heard what he said, right? Oh, okay.
yeah, that
I'm sorry?
danger.
Hold on.
No.
Repeat.
Yeah, we're just putting a conservation, some type of conservation easement on top of the 30 acres in the hills to make sure that future councils don't put diamonds and rectangles up there.
Behind the school, so not
Right.
the whole.
Right.
Just basically, but we'll talk, you can do it in your meeting, but I just want to see what is involved and if there's any other parcels here that are big that we need to do that too, but yeah. So, okay.
Any other projects? from
No,
council?
that was it. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Now it's
Yes.
final public comment.
Name and address, please.
We're not doing final public, right? We're talking of this agenda
Oh,
item.
the agenda, okay.
You can go either way.
Any final
Oh,
public
well,
comment?
I want to do the agenda item before because they're
That's
going to be
fine.
two separate
That's
ones
fine,
for
so
me.
you want your double 3 minutes.
Thanks. Okay, so in reference, Nicole Marie 879 High Point, in reference to agenda item number 8. Okay, so we talked about the 30-acre parcel. I want to talk about that first. Now, this is something that would, just for clarification, that we would have to go through a separate for zoning, correct? Yeah.
Scott's researching. to
Yes.
make it-
I'm pretty sure that that's something, it has to be rezoned, because right now it's not, isn't it? Because when we looked
No,
at it
I think
originally.
it actually is designated for parks or civic use or something.
Right, but for
so-
conservation, it's a completely different thing altogether. And so once it's zoned, once we go through zoning to make it conservation, then it can't go back.
Unless it's a passive park that's just has a conservation easement. So you can still, even when there's a conservation easement, you can sometimes still have foot trails and things like that.
Right, exactly. But the point is that if we switch it in zoning from public parcel to conservation, then what we're doing is we're saying that 30-acre parcel where it can still have, like Ferndale, for example, is a prime example that Lake County did. That is considered a conservation area. It's preserve. And they have foot trails and limited things. There's no bathrooms. They have like a porter potty. It's pretty cool if you've ever been out there. But they have like this little porter potty thing because they can't actually put plumbing and stuff in the ground, but it is considered conservation. And once it is considered conservation, then no city council can go back and change it. So that's, I think, the emphasis here, that we need to make sure that we are taking those wordings, because that's going to assure that it stays what it is. And I remember we spoke to one of the gentlemen when it was built, and I guess he had this understanding that it was promised to them that it would always be that as well. So, if we can, do this not only for the city, but also for the people in that development, I'm sure they'll be very happy. That gentleman was very nice for talking to my son for the whole time we were in that meeting. My second question is about the splash pad. So obviously, I also submitted 2 different proposals. I know the first one got to you. I don't think the second one ever did, Mark.
Not yet. It'll be at the workshop.
Okay. And I know that you said vaguely, and this is what I was trying to get clarifying, did you already submit a plan for this? Are you waiting for the plan, or what was... Because that was where the confusion, it was hard to hear you with your hands.
They drew up something as far as staff, and then from there, it's supposed to go for the final drawing. Am I correct, Mark?
Yeah, we have a concept plan that was laid out for that other parcel. And so it would need to get y'all's approval, and then we can go through and work on construction drawings.
So the proposal plan that I did for this was to honor your original desires, but it was also to make it a live and learn space where we were incorporating conservation, we were incorporating STEM. It would open us up to different grants and things like that. So if you can please get that to them, especially to Vice Mayor, because if this is something that we're talking about here, it saves the city money. It's all of the, we're all on the same page. We're all trying to be in the same boat here. So it helps if our oars aren't on the same side. So. But I would really like for you to take a look at it. I know I sent a first one after our conversation. I revisited the things and really heard what it is that you said that you wanted in that place, taking conservation and all of the things in mind. The overall proposal of the one that I submitted would only cost the city $10,000 a year for maintenance, and it's because of these particular plans, which is about 60% less than what a normal splash pad would come in at. So I highly urge and encourage you to send that over to them so that we can have a conversation worth having. So I will save the rest of my comments for the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Morse, 1064 Golden Dawn Loop. I'm not understanding why the wastewater, we are not, there's a lot of different moving parts with wastewater, and I would appreciate it if the reclaimed water would be a separate item and discussed. I think it's hypocritical that we're saying we're Water Conservation Month, and we're midway through the month, by the way, but water conservation and the city isn't taking steps to actually preserve the water usage that they use, and the residents have no choice over. Again, if we will use reclaimed water and put that online, we would reduce thousands and thousands and millions of our consumptive use permits. So I'm not sure why that's not on the list to discuss, but I think it needs to be. Also, the GFL contract that's on the list that we did talk about, I just want to circle back and say that one would think as a project manager that has a mitigation plan, the city would appoint someone assigned to that project, would have looked at the city streets and determine which city streets need to be corrected, not relying on the contractor that caused the problem to identify those streets. That was my point that I was making previously, and those need to be listed, and you need to see an actual mitigation plan, not them coming up and telling the board what their plan is. And the last one that I have is for the landscape. I know, Mark, I told you this. When we left the building last city meeting, he was sitting there on his cell phone and had his 3 kids at 9:30 at night shoveling dirt, which upset me as a parent. I don't think that any kid on a school night should be shoveling dirt at a city hall for insurance purposes and just for the view of the city hall. And obviously, we're not sure why that was being done. So hopefully that won't happen again. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Final public comment.
Nicole Marie, 879 High Point Circle. I will say my nice stuff first, because I feel like it'll sweeten the blow. As far as it being Water Conservation Month, I would like to offer my services to do a free event using Project Wet and Growing Up Wet. I am certified to teach these things. It could be something that could be done here in City Hall. It could be something that could be done at Trailhead. I would love to be able to do a fun event about water conservation for the kids. We would provide everything. We would just need a place and a time to be able to do it. I think it would be a great way to bring awareness and to get families involved in what we're asking to do if we are making this proclamation of it being Water Conservation Month. So that's that. Joe, I would like to ask you first, why is it that you felt that it was necessary to wait to the end of all of the comments to add your very nice monologue to the things? Because you asked questions that we absolutely had the answers to. One of the things that you kept repeating throughout was that there was no plan. However, there was a plan emailed to you about 6 weeks ago and what that building was and exactly what it would have reached out to be. It's neither here nor there at this point, but you know, I sat down and with Mark, with his permission, I came up with a proposal for that building and all of the other things and emailed it to each and every one of you. So clearly by your comment, you did not check the email or review any of the things. And so I feel like it's very disrespectful if we have public comments knowing that we're only allowed to come up here one time. If you're gonna save your comments to the end, knowing that you have questions that we might actually have answers to. So if I may urge you and encourage you to put your comments before we can speak, because we can't speak after that. So I just kind of felt that was a little bit of a low blow, personally. As far as Facebook, I would like to speak about why or just kind of point this that we're not allowed to make comments on any of the city page. However, Claremont allows you to make comments. Lake County also allows you to make comments. There was a post specifically talking about asking the city to come out because their voice wants to be heard. And right after, all of the comments were turned off. I need to remind you that most of the people who would comment on Facebook are single mothers like myself who can't come out here. It is dinner time. This is the time that they're with their children. And so asking for the city to let their voice be heard, but like turn off the comment seems a little counterproductive for me. So I feel like this is something that should be reconsidered and discussed with the new team so that people can actually be heard when they can't be here. I mean, obviously there is a way to monitor this, and there is a way to assure that the comments are appropriate. That is something that Claremont did, so they can filter through what comments are showed. They can put trigger words. It's something that can be done with AI. But to say that you want to hear the city's comments and then turn off public comments seems to be counterproductive for me. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate all that you do here, and I really hope that you consider changing your comments, not to the end, but before. Thanks.
Jennifer, anything? You good? Nathan? David? We all good?
No.
Cheryl, got anything? Just trying to keep it personal.
Joyce, anything? Didn't mean to leave you out.
Cheryl?
We lost somebody. Is she taken care of? Is she good?
Cheryl, you good?
Okay. With that said, bring it back. Mark?
Some of the stuff on my list we've already talked about tonight. The things that we did not, summer camp is almost at capacity. Week 3 has 1 space left, and week 5 has 3 spaces left, and that's it. The next Minneola market is the April 23rd, next Wednesday. The Memorial Day event is scheduled for Monday, May 26th at 10 a.m. in the same location as last year. Talked about that. The RV campers were both removed from the church on Old Highway 50 and the park and ride. And we're working on our previous magistrate has retired, and we've located another magistrate. Y'all probably know who it's going to be. We'll be coming forward at the next meeting on trying to get him appointed as our magistrate. And also we have in May we'll have our 2 planning and zoning commissioners that are coming off. We'll have a little thank you for them at the next meeting, or the second, May 11th. May 11th. That's it.
No, thank you, Mark.
No, thank you, Mark.
Nope, thank you, Mark.
Scott?
A couple of things. One, just to clarify for our city manager's sake, you voted to demolish the building, but moving forward, did you just wish him to go with the lowest bidder we had from the previous bids and get it done? Is that the desire of the council?
I think the lowest bidder.
IMS withdrew, yes.
The lowest bidder, so it'd be, lowest bidder was IMS, so they're out, so it'd be the next lowest bidder.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that would be.
I just wanted to make sure that,
Okay.
I'm fine with that, as long as it's in us.
Good with it? Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Good news, the county approved at their meeting last Tuesday the interlocal agreement for Citrus Grove Road, which is the last agreement, standing on our way to get that moving. The basic framework of the project, again, which I think is good, is because it is a county road, the county is going to bid and manage the construction. They have more resources to do that anyway. The city, though, will be handling the grant money, so we'll be involved with payment and those type of things. But before we pay anybody, the county will go out, inspect, tell us it's okay to pay, and approve pay apps. So that's all being worked out. We are still waiting, as I understand it, for FDOT to bless the latest round of plans and the bid documents. Those 2 things we're waiting from FDOT, but once that's done, hopefully it can get it going. So finally get that project moving ahead. At the last meeting, we had first reading of the St. John, or the ordinance about possibly limiting water usage to the, among other things, the 20,000 gallons, or possibly getting cut off. We did investigate As some speculated, St. John's was pretty quick to clarify that they were not mandating that we pass that. That was not a requirement in any way. It made them happy. And it was, what happened was they had expressed that that is the target, or that is the amount of water that people should be using, but they in no way are requiring that or conditioning our CUP on us passing that ordinance. So based on that, I think the staff at least has discussed doing other ways to encourage people to do that, among other things, posting, advertising, instruction, and we'll be working on those type of things, but we're pretty much not planning on bringing back that part of the ordinance for second reading when it comes back. We'll probably still bring back at least aspects, but modify it a little bit of the soil portion of that. That was the other portion, but I think unless you tell me otherwise, we're gonna gut the 20,000 or we shut off your water part, so. And the last thing, I know several of you, well, all of us have been getting emails from Mr. and Ms. Worko, who are probably watching. Always good to see them. The intent at this point is to bring back at May's P&Z meeting in 3 weeks a draft, the first draft of the vacation rental ordinance, which Jennifer in our office has been working diligently on, and I thank her for that. And hopefully after P&Z roughs it up and goes over it and makes their comments, we will bring that back to council, and hopefully by the end of the summer, by the time the SWRCOs are back in the fall, we'll have that all well in place.
Good deal.
Thank you.
That's it.
Anything for Scott?
No, thank you.
No, thank you, Scott.
Nope. Thanks, Scott.
No. Pam, anything?
Nope, thank you.
No, thank you.
Comments or public report?
Yeah, this
This is your turn.
your turn.
Yes. So we had a great event in the for the Crooked Can opening. I think it was wonderful, great showing. One thing I thought of, and I spoke to them, to Andy, and he's all on board. And I was doing some quick research. It doesn't seem like there are any, at least not in Central Florida, at least, and maybe one in Tampa. But, and this is, Scott, I'm going to look at you. I want to see what options we have that we can designate Crooked Can as the official beer of Minneola. I think that'll be a good official thing to do, and Andy and his partner were all on board for that. They were thrilled about it. Not only will that make us one of the few cities in Florida have that officially recognized as official beer in Florida, but I think it's also a good welcome gift to what's sure to be one of the most popular spots in Minneola.
I think another, I know I was talking to Tara about it, and it was also naming one of their beers after Mineola.
Yeah, I think that's something we were talking about as well.
Yeah, I was talking to Tara and her brother, Tyler, excuse me. So, just putting that out there, that was something else that I wanted to just mention.
That's it.
Anything else?
So I know that there's alcohol involved, so I'll let you, Scott, do your legal thing.
Yeah, have to drink responsibly, all those types of
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll pause on that one.
I'll look into that,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Joe?
You can sample as you.
if need be.
Y'all remember the brewery on Center Street?
Yes.
Yes.
Did a
I
really
miss
good
that
job.
place.
We spoke about that, and I was actually
I
talking
miss
to
that
Nathan about
place.
that. But it was before Nathan's time, I believe.
Yeah. 2010.
I was just thinking the bathroom at Trailhead Park, to remodel that, it's probably going to be out of commission for 30 days, maybe 60 days. And the thought of having porta potties out there, I don't think that looks good.
The horse trailer ones are nice. There's some really nice ones
Yes,
that
they
are
are.
air conditioned.
Well, I think Mr. Yeager rented one not too long ago that looked pretty good. It was a his and her trailer bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah, that's the one.
That liquid drying
You
one.
know how much that cost, Dave? Well, I would think that would be reasonable to have something decent rather than porta potties up there.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I agree
They had it at
completely.
Liquid Joinery. It's
For the
nice.
simple fact that they
It's
also have changing tables in those, I believe, too. So porta potties, there are no changing tables.
Anything else?
Nope.
Speaking of this has come up a couple times, but it's more homework for Scott and Tara to kind of work on, and I see it, special events. Crooked Can wants to come in and they want to do a special event every weekend, the biggest farmers market in Lake County, so they're really pushing that issue. There's also, they want to do special events, evenings, car shows, or something, etc. Some type of blanket gives them a part of, okay, self-renewing a 12 month, you get these, and then it self-renews every 12 months, or something that it doesn't have to come in front of council every
Every time they want to do an event.
yeah, just come up with some type blanket thing, and I think figure out what they did for the farmers market in Claremont, but no, they do it in Claremont
Oh,
too.
the Claremont.
But just what do you do in that? There are some questions that are coming up that we discussed, and it's more of y'all understanding is if they do it, and they'll take alcohol will be served in the parking lot, not on the property. So we have to kind of understand that whole logistics of it, and just how do we just kind of cover it all. So she's on it for that. So that's the thought process for that.
Yeah, getting ahead of me.
I'll look into it. I actually think there was some language in the PUD document when it was amended that specifically mentioned
I just want to make
special
sure that
events.
that doesn't.
And the other thing to keep in mind, most of their special events would probably be contained on their property, so they're not
It's
using
the property, but then it's the parking lot is the question.
Yeah, but even that, at this point, the parking lot we're talking
Is
about.
part of their property.
That's why we have a
Right.
crackpot lawyer, just so he's
But
does
yes,
it where it
we'll
is,
look
just
into it, yeah.
to make sure. But yeah, I think the event went really well. Kind of excited. So.
It was a great event.
With that said, I have nothing else. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Closed.
Thanks for seconding.
Oh.
Yeah, I was fine with you.
$25 a month?
Suck it up. Yeah, it's a good picture. Royal flush or whatever that is.
No, Oil flush will be more money. This is just that private woman. But it's $2,500.
Oh, yeah, let me see. I did actually.